The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The House Committee on Appropriations will discuss the proposal by Ombudsman Samuel Martires to keep COA audits private. The Ombudsman earlier urged Congress to remove budget provisions mandating the publication of annual audit reports. He said this is to prevent the public from making hasty judgments of possible corruption. Now, panel chairperson Elizalde Co noted the possible impact of these audit reports on the reputation of government officials and that the panel will study the proposal in depth. Meanwhile, Minority Senator Risa Ontiveros emphasized that public officials have nothing to fear if they're not hiding anything. She adds that keeping COA reports from the public will only weaken the government's ability to investigate irregularities in the use of public funds. U.S. President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was criminally charged on Thursday in cases related to possession of firearms. This is the first ever prosecution of a sitting president's child in the United States. The indictment was filed in the United States District Court in Delaware, charging Hunter Biden with 3 criminal counts related to making false statements in connection with the purchase of a firearm and illegally possessing the firearm as a drug addict. Now, this comes after the deal for Hunter to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax charges and enroll in a program to avoid prosecution on a gun-related charge collapsed in July. Meanwhile, the White House has downplayed the Republican Party's plan to impeach President Joe Biden. The inquiry is centered around whether Biden benefited from Biden's foreign business dealings. Now, according to the White House, this move is baseless since no evidence has been provided to support the call. Over in Libya, residents and rescue workers in the coastal town of Derna are struggling to cope with thousands of corpses washing up or decaying under rubble following the devastating flood caused by Storm Daniel. Now, according to the mayor of Derna, death toll could reach up to 20,000, while the Associated Press reports that some 10,000 people are still missing in the disaster's aftermath. The United Nations said that over 1,000 bodies in Derna and 100 more in Al Baida had been buried in mass graves. Libyan authorities have since demanded an investigation into whether human failings were to blame for the tragedy. Mexico is now getting a lot of global focus from the manufacturing sector thanks to its proximity to the United States. Now, with more and more companies planning to establish operations in the Latin American nation, will Made in Mexico be the new standard in manufacturing? Let's find out in this Bloomberg Quick Take.
Could Made in Mexico be the future of manufacturing? I'm standing here today in Monterrey, Mexico, where soon enough new companies going to come to establish their operations in the region in a phenomenon known as nearshoring. As a result, billions of dollars have poured into Latin America's second largest economy from companies looking to move closer to the U.S. market. Tesla is a great example. They're planning to put at least $5 billion into a new factory in the outskirts of Monterrey, given its close proximity to the U.S.-Mexico border. Pedro Campa used to work at a plant in the area that produces components for Tesla's vehicles.
I think there's a potential for more Asian companies to be moving into Mexico now with the current geopolitical issues we got in the world. And not only that, but I think COVID teaches that we got to rationalize our supply chain and not only regionalize it.
While Tesla has been a catalyst for new investments in the region, it's not the only one eyeing Mexico. With products from furniture to skincare, over 60 companies from different sectors have announced plans to expand or establish operations in the country so far this year. More than $29 billion in foreign investment has been announced in 2023, ranging from German to Argentine firms. For local manufacturers like Humberto Garza, the growth of nearshoring presents both opportunities and challenges.
Este es nuestro gran objetivo, crecer al ritmo de nearshoring, que fácilmente consideramos que va a ser una década muy fuerte, muy interesante, muy retadora.
Mexico could likely emerge among the world's big winners, but issues around violence, a government that's repeatedly clashed with private interests, and infrastructure under growing strain could choke off opportunities brought by nearshoring.
The risk of Mexico is not to be prepared for the avalanche that can come over. There will be some other countries within Latin America that will be able to do it. Hopefully we get our act together and whatever is saying made in China becomes made in Mexico soon.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Authorities are gearing up for the upcoming barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections next month. Brian Basa with the details.
It's 45 days before the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan polls, but the Philippine National Police has already recorded 4 election-related incidents, 2 in the Bangsamoro region, 1 in Calabarzon, and the other in Bicol. Authorities have also arrested over 400 people for various offenses. Almost 250 firearms have been confiscated. The country's top cop says they're keeping a close eye on private armed groups.
Actually, even in the absence of yung election period, talagang tuloy-tuloy na minomonitor yan ng ating Directorate for Intelligence. And nagkataon na binibigyan natin ng mas maigting na attention because of this election period.
187,000 police officers will be deployed nationwide on Decision Day on October 30th, though the Quezon City Police has had a head start. They've stocked up on gadgets like body cameras and drones to make monitoring easier.
Meron itong tinatawag natin dyan, yung thermal imaging capability. Pwede natin makita pag ang tao ay nagtatago dun sa behind the tree lines or even behind the walls.
Authorities are also zeroing in on election hotspots. PNP sees 27 areas that could be placed under the red category, many of which are in Mindanao. These are sites that could be most vulnerable to violence. 230 areas are under the orange category or places under possible terror threat. More than 4,000 sites are under the yellow category, where political rivalry is intense. No final list yet, but the COMELEC chairman thinks the town of Malabang, Indano del Sur should be declared a hot spot. Gunshots previously jolted the town in end August. It violates the gun ban that's in effect from August 28th to November 29th.
So sa aking palagay, bilang isang abogado lang, sa aking palagay dapat ilagay sa COMELEC control yon. Of course, we will without prejudice to the recommendation of the Philippine National Police.
The police, military, and Coast Guard have until the end of the month to assess the election hotspots. The COMELEC will then finalize and release the list.
We should remain that way para hindi naman magkaroon ng concern ang ating mga areas na mapapangalanan because ito pa naman ay hindi final.
For News 5, I'm Brian Basa, and we are One News.
Let's now take a quick look on other stories we're watching. The PNP has arrested 6 suspects accused of kidnapping cockfight enthusiasts. The arrest was made at a safe house in Parañaque on Friday, over a year after the cockfighters' disappearance. There is no information yet on their whereabouts. Land Bank has remitted its 50 billion peso Maharlika Fund contribution to the Treasury. Now, under the MIF law, the national government and Land Bank will provide 50 billion pesos each, while the Development Bank will contribute 25 billion pesos for the fund's initial capital. The Plant Industry Bureau has downplayed the USDA's projected 3.8 million metric ton rice importation for the Philippines. The agency maintained that the figure is merely an assumption and that there is no cause for concern as locally produced rice is still available. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.